Hello students, hope you all are doing well. Myself Sajjan Pradhan, Assistant Professor, Gargi Memorial Institute of Technology. In today's class, we will discuss about Maxwell's Wien bridge or Maxwell's inductance capacitance bridge. In the previous class, we have discussed about Maxwell's bridge or Maxwell's inductance bridge. In that bridge, there was a disadvantage of like in that bridge the variable impedance, that is variable inductor and a resistance, variable resistance is used to calibrate the bridge so that the net current, that is the bridge should be will be in balanced condition. So for we have to use a variable inductor to the bridge circuit. We know that normally a variable inductor is generally a bulky setup, and there is very difficult to manage that inductance in the small setup. So this to Maxwell's Wien bridge, that is discussed in today's class. In that bridge we will use a variable capacitor instead of variable inductor. So see, this is the circuit diagram for the current, that means the Maxwell's inductance capacitance bridge. As the name suggests that in this bridge we will measure the inductance with the help of the variable capacitor. So for measurement of this unknown inductor, that is inductance of the inductor, we have to vary this capacitor as well as that means the variable resistor, so that such that the deflection in the galvanometer or the sensitive AC galvanometer or audio amplifier or microphone, that means so that it does not flow any current through this measure, that means the deflecting devices. So the main points is this bridge is used for measurement of inductance. As we know that in the general form of bridge AC bridge circuit, we know that Z1 into Z4 will be equals to Z2 into Z3. Here all Z are is the impedance of the corresponding arm of the bridge. So here what is Z1? Z1 is R1 plus J XL1, and this is what Z1, R1 plus J XL1, or you can say that R1 plus J omega L1. Similarly here Z2 will be what? Because there is no any inductor or capacitor in this arm, so here Z2 will be equals to simply R2. In the similar way Z3 will be what? R3. But what will be Z4? Z4 will be, since both this capacitor and the resistor, variable resistor, is connected in parallel, so Z4 will be 1 by R4 plus 1 by minus JXC, or you can simply understand this thing, simply we know that the for the parallel circuit, that net impedance is the impedance of this arm into this divided by summation of this. That means XC into R4 divided by XC plus R4. But since this XC is what? XC is in the form of J, because this will be in the negative of J axis, so this will be minus J, and here also this will be minus J. So let it will be what? 1 by R4 plus, or you can say that Xc equals to actually 1 by omega c. So this will be omega c, and just multiply the both side with the minus j. So this will be j square and this will be plus. So it will be j omega c4. That is equals to R4 divided by 1 plus j omega c4 into R4. So in this way, what will be the balanced condition equation? That is, for balanced condition or balanced condition of bridge, the equation will be R1 plus j omega L1 into R2 into R4 divided by this one, 1 by j omega c4 into R4 will be equals to Z2 into Z3, that means R2 into R3. So this will be R1 into R4 plus j into omega L1 into R4 will be equals to R2 into R3 plus j omega C4 R2 R3 R4. Equating both sides with the help of that means the equating real and imaginary parts, it gives us, by equating the real part, that means R1 into R4 will be equals to R2 into R3, and this is the balanced condition of the bridge for magnitude part only, that means the real part only. Or real or magnitude part. But the bridge will also should be balanced, that means the bridge, the condition of the balancing of the bridge, the imaginary part will also be equals, so that the net omega L1 into R4 will be equals to omega C4 R2 R3 into R4. Omega will be cancelled out, so L1 will be, and R4 will also be cancelled out, so L1 will be C4 into R2 into R3, and this is the equation for calculating the or for measuring the inductor, that means the L1. So with the help of these two equations, this one and this one, we can calculate the L1 as well as R1. That means R1 equals to what? R2 into, sorry, this will be R3 divided by R4. So with the help of these two equations, we can calculate R1 as well as L1 if the bridge is in balanced condition. Since in these equations, that means in Maxwell's inductance capacitance bridge, since omega is cancelled out, that means the unknown parameter, that is L1 and R1, is not depends on the system, that means the supply frequency of the bridge, and that is also the one advantage of this Maxwell's Wien bridge as well as in Maxwell's bridge. In that Maxwell's bridge method, the omega is also cancelled in that bridge also. So with the help of this bridge, we can calculate R1 and L1, that is the unknown parameter of the inductor. Now what will be the quality factor of the circuit, that means of the inductor? As we know that the quality factor of any inductor is given by the voltage drop across the inductor, pure inductor, divided by the voltage drop across the resistance of that inductor. So here quality factor Q will be what? Omega L1 divided by R1, because current will be cancelled out. So the quality factor of the inductor will be omega L1 divided by R1. So calculate the quality factor. We know that this is omega L1 is C4 into R2 into R3 divided by R1, and also we know that R1 is R2 R3 divided by R4. So this will be omega R2 R3 C4 divided by R1 is will be replaced as R2 into R3 divided by R4, that means R4. So the quality factor of the inductor will be omega C4 into R4. Now the phasor diagram of the circuit. First of all, as we know that in the circuit, that means this one, we know that the current I1 equals to I2 and I3 will be equals to I4. So first of all, with the help of this circuit diagram, we will start the drawing the phasor diagram. First of all, let us assume that this is the line of, let us assume that this is the line of current I1. Let us assume this is I1. So I2 will be same, because I1 equals to I2. So this will be I1 equals to I2. Now if I1 is in this direction, then the voltage drop across this resistor only, that means I1 into R1 will be on the same axis. That's why let us assume that this portion, let us assume that this is I1 into R1. So this will be, let us assume this will be I1 into R1. Now in which direction this current, the voltage drop across this in pure inductor will be on? So I1 into L1 will be in which direction? Obviously, since in the pure inductor circuit the voltage leads or current lags, so the voltage drop across this resistor will be on the positive J direction on or positive Y axis. So let us assume that this is I1 into x L1, or you can say that, no sorry, no problem, this is I1 into x L1 or I1 into omega L1. So the resultant of this whole voltage drop, that means the voltage drop across this resistor plus this inductor, will gives us what? The voltage across the arm VAB. That means let us assume that this is V1. So the resultant of both this gives us what? V1. Now as we know that if this is V1, so this voltage will also be, let us assume that this is V3. So in the balanced condition, obviously in balanced condition what? V1 will be equals to V3 and V2 will be equals to V4. Let us assume that this is V2 and the voltage drop across this arm is V4. So if this is V1, so obviously this will also be equals to V3. Now if the voltage drop across, that means this line represents the voltage drop across this arm V3, so the current flows in this arm, in this resistor, will also be in the same direction as the direction of V3. That means the voltage, that means the current flows from the arm, that means the resistor R3 will be in the direction of V3. That means the current flows in the, let us assume that this is I3. The current flows in the path in the arm AD will be in the on the same direction as V3. Now if we know the current direction of the, that means the I3, if we know that the I3, so I4 will be same, because in the balanced condition I3 will be equals to I4, as we know that I1 equals to I2 and I3 is equals to I4. So since I3 is on the direction, that means this direction indicates the I3, so I4, this also indicates the I4, because I3 equals to I4. Now if we know the, if we know that the direction of current, that is the I4, then what will be the direction of IR and IC? To find the direction of IR and IC, first of all we know that the voltage drop across this CD arm, that means this arm, will be V4, which is equals to V2. And where is V2? I2 into R2 gives us V2. Let us assume that this is, let us assume that this gives us I2 into R2. Just assume this thing, I2 into R2, and this gives us what? V2 equals to V2, which is also equals to V4. That means this is the magnitude of V4 as well. If we know the V4, then the direction of IR will be on the same path as per V4. So the direction of IR will be on the same line. Let us assume that the direction of IR let us assume that this is IR. So the IR into R4 gives us the also V4, and since this is equals to V4, let us say, since IR and into R4 gives us the voltage V4, so this point also indicates what? IR into R4. In this way, what is IC into C4? That means this voltage. And that is also equals to IC into XC4, and this is also equals to what? IC into XC4, or IC into 1 by omega C4. This voltage, that means the voltage across the capacitor plus voltage and voltage across this resistor as well as voltage across this resistor, all are in the same point, that is this point. I2 into R2, that is this one, that is V2, that is equals to V4, that is equals to, we can say that, let us assume this is the VC and this is VR4. So VC equals to VC and VR4, all are on the same point. Now if we know that this is RC, then where will be IC? Obviously the current leads in the capacitor by 90 degree, so IC will be on the, that means the 90 degree upward. This will gives us IC. This is IC, and the resultant of both this gives us also, that means here we can see that this IC plus IR gives us I4. See, this is IC and this is I4, and gives us the resultant, that is I4. So we know the voltage across V3, V4, V1 and V2. Then what will be the voltage across the whole circuit, that is the V? Obviously V1 plus V2 gives us net V. So V1, that means this one plus this one, that means we have to draw a parallelogram, and plus this voltage, and this gives us voltage V. This is the net resultant V, and this is the complete phasor diagram of the whole Maxwell's Wien bridge. If you want to let us repeat this phasor diagram again. It may be confusing to all of you. First of all, before starting the phasor diagram, first of all we have to know the equations of the circuit. In the balanced condition, we know that V1 and equals to V3, V1 equals to V3 and V2 equals to V4, whereas current I1 will be equals to current I2 and this I3 will be equals to I4. So first of all we have to start from any point. Let us assume that we are going to start the point from A, that is current I1. First of all I have drawn a line, that is current I1. Since we know that this current I1 equals to I2, so I1 equals to I2, this same phase, that means same vector represents the I1 as well as I2. Now if we know the current direction of I1 and I2, so the voltage drop across this resistance, that means the this R1 resistor will be what? I1 into R1. Let us assume that this is the magnitude, that means on the same line, because resistor did not changes the phase of the system. So the voltage drop across this resistor, that is I1 into R1, will be on the same line. So this, let us assume this is the this represents the I1 into R1, and the voltage drop across this resistor will be on the positive J direction, because in inductor the voltage leads. So let us assume that this is gives us the I1 into XL1. So on the 90 upward, 90 degree upward. So the net resultant, that is the V1, will be voltage drop across this plus this, that means this voltage drop plus this voltage drop, that means the resultant of both the vectors gives us the voltage drop across this unknown resistor, unknown in that means this unknown inductor, that is V1. As we know V1 equals to V3, that's why same vector, this vector gives us the voltage of third arm also, that is V3. Now if we know that the direction, the direction of the third arm V3, since there is only one resistor, that is R3 in the circuit, so I3 will be on the same line as the direction of V3. So I3 will, let us assume that this line also indicates the I3. Let us assume the magnitude is like this. So this I3, the direction of this current I3 will be equals to on the same line as V1 and V3. Since this is I3 and we know that I3 equals to I4, that's why this vector also indicates the I4. Now I4, we know that direction of I4, and we also know that the voltage across this resistor, because we know that the direction of I2. Let us assume that the voltage drop across this resistor R2, I2 into R2 is this one, on the same line as I1 or I2. So this I2 into R2 gives us the voltage V2, which is also equals to V4, which is also equals to this voltage and also equals to this voltage drop across this capacitor. That's why I2 into R2 equals to I4, IR into R4 equals to I into XC4, and the that is the V2 equals to V4 equals to VC4 equals to VR4. So this same points indicates all these voltages. Now if we know that the voltage across this arm, then the current direction of the current IR will be on the same line as the direction of V4. So let us assume that this is the direction of IR. Now where will be the IC? IC will be in the upward direction, that is in the positive J direction, correspond with respect to V4. So IC is in the, let us assume that this IC is indicates the 90-degree upward with respect to V4. So this is IC, and the resultant of IC and IR gives us I3. That's why the resultant this. Now V1 plus V2 gives us voltage V1, and V2, the resultant of these two vector, that is this vector and this vector gives us what? V. That's so this is V. Also V3 plus V4 also gives us voltage V. That's why the same point V1 equals to V3, because V1 equals to V3, also V2 equals to V4. And in this way we can draw the phasor diagram of the circuit. Now recap of the today's class. In this class we have discussed about Maxwell's Wien bridge or Maxwell's inductance capacitance bridge, where we have discussed how to find the unknown, that means the resistance of the unknown real inductor, that is R1, and methods to find the inductance of that unknown inductor. Here we have also studied the how to find the quality factor of that unknown inductor, that is Q, and today we have also studied the phasor diagram of the corresponding today's bridge, that is Maxwell's Wien bridge. There is one disadvantage of this circuit also, this bridge also. This is normally very convenient and useful bridge for the determination of inductance having medium quality factor, that is it should be generally from 1 to 10. That means it is generally used for quality factor 1 to 10. Here in this circuit also, since variable capacitor is used to balance the circuit, and this is also very difficult to find the standard capacitor, that is and at very high accuracy, that is also variable in the nature, and these are the some disadvantages of this circuit. Thank you for today. Thanks a lot. Be safe. Thank you.